Welcome. My name is Bihus, and you're watching Our Money, a program about anti-corruption investigations. Today's episode will be tough. We will talk about how corruption kills, literally. Nadiya Burdiey returned to Odesa to investigate the circumstances that led to a fire in a summer camp. And I don't even know what's more horrifying, the circumstances themselves or their frequency in Ukraine. Because neither I nor you would be surprised by legalized corruption schemes. Neither would we be appalled by a formal fire safety check in a summer camp. Observing formalities without taking accountability is an everyday norm, which is not normal at all. But people often get away with it, but not this time. Need another one there, number 6. See it? A room in a summer camp Victoria goes up in flames. Stretch it, hold your ground. They are looking for missing children. At 23:15, the flame will engulf the wooden building in an instant. 42 children sleep in the 2-story building. You lied to everyone on live TV. They have burned in there. Air this. 3 from a room. They were forgotten there. 3 children were forgotten. Who evacuated the children? Is the hydrant okay? Too weak? It's 23:30. The firefighters were notified 30 minutes after the fire had started. 50 firefighters come to the camp in 8 minutes, but that's 40 minutes after the fire started. Show me who evacuated the children. Who evacuated the children? Check the balcony exits. We can pass on to this balcony. 23:45, the first firefighters reach the camp to discover that the hydrant and a water reservoir are empty, while the entire building burns. We ran out of water or what? I'm a father of a child who went missing in the camp. Well, missing, that's what they say. God forbid he may have burned alive. It's the 16th of September, 12:30 a.m. The camp building turned to ash. There are no sprinklers, no water tower. Children live there. How is this possible? How could the administration allow this? I can't wrap my mind around this. If my child has died, I don't know. It would be terrible for everyone. The fire has killed 3 children. The suspect in this case is the senior instructor, the woman whose position included responsibility for fire safety in the summer camp.
How can I be responsible if I don't even know how to use a fire extinguisher?
Natalia Yanchik came to the Victoria summer camp 2 years ago. At first, she worked as an instructor, but in January 2017, she was promoted to senior instructor and told about her new responsibilities. She told me that I was going to be responsible for fire safety on paper, told me to sign it so that the papers would be in order. She told me that it was just for 2 weeks and then they would find a competent person to replace me as responsible for fire safety. The administration persuaded her that it was just a formality, just for 2 weeks. Thus, Yanchik became responsible for fire safety of hundreds of children and ended up in jail. Now the woman may be sentenced to 3 years in prison, despite the fact that she quit her position before the fire happened. I was shocked because I wasn't there, I wasn't an instructor anymore, and now Natalia Yanchik filed her letter of resignation at the end of August and left the summer camp. I left on the 29th of August. There are witnesses, even the people who worked there, they helped us pack up. When I left, I considered myself to be no longer employed because I'd worked my 2 weeks. The woman decided to quit after a visit from the fire inspector. The summer camp had an inspection in June, which found gross violations of fire safety, and Yanchik found out that she was still responsible for it. The inspection came, gave us the document about violations, told me that I had to pay the fine, being the one responsible.
Ошибки, вот это вот все. Мне сказали, что это я должна оплатить как ответственная за это все.
I was perplexed by the fine. The inspector found 30 violations: empty water reservoirs, no pressure in hydrants, inactive alarms. The inspector saw what the firefighters would see 3 months later during the fire. The inspector had the right to shut the camp down. Instead, the gross violations were punished with a $2 fine. I wasn't responsible for that, and now I had to pay for that? She gave me the money, $2 or something. She gave me the money to pay the fine. But why do I have to do it if I'm not the one responsible? I should have been relieved of the position a couple of months ago, but I wasn't. A hotel, a restaurant, another restaurant, warehouses. These are just a few of the buildings, and just in Kyiv, which should have been shut down by the inspection in September, several weeks before the fire in Victoria. The firefighters meticulously check the extinguishers in shops, cafes, and even warehouses. But a summer camp gets a ridiculous fine and operates without any fire safety for years. July 2015, a colossal fire at a BRSM petroleum base. It resisted extinguishing for 2 days. The inspector knew about the gross fire safety violations for 2 years before the event. In 2013, an inspector had visited the high-risk object, wrote a reprimand, and then just left. The inspector could have shut down the petroleum base, but he looked the other way. In 2 years, 4 of his co-workers would die because of this. Inspection, violation, reprimand. Inspection, violation, $2 fine, fire. A short and dry sum-up of the Odesa tragedy. The violations weren't corrected, charged with neglect of duty. Aside from the camp's director, who is already in prison, state emergency service employees knew about the fire safety violations at Victoria Camp. While this report was being prepared, the head of the Odesa District SESU department became a suspect. The investigators came to a reasonable conclusion that the official didn't only have the right, but according to the law, was obliged to go to court and demand a temporary or permanent shutdown of the summer camp. Shops and offices get shut down in an instant by firefighters, while in the case of the municipal summer camp, which can't pay big fines, the inspectors consciously decided to risk the lives of children. They saw the lack of water. They saw the fire safety warden, who has never even held a fire extinguisher, and they just left. When I was in jail, they brought me the documents and started explaining what I should have done and what I should have been responsible for in that position. I was shocked. I was supposed to do something with the wiring, to do something about the logs not being treated, something about that hydrant. This also turned out to be my fault.
То, что гидрант не был, да, это тоже моя вина, оказывается.
23:05, 5 minutes after the ignition. The fire steadily engulfs the building. Fire alarms melt on the walls. The firefighters don't even know about the fire, and they will not know for 25 more minutes. Only at 23:30, the camp instructors call the firefighter. The firefighters swiftly came to the rescue, but they called the firefighters when it had all burned to ashes. Then people complained about the firefighters. We can't say that the fire alarm wasn't triggered. For half an hour, from 23 o'clock till 23:30, the fire alarms were sending the signal, but it didn't go to the fire department. Instead, the alarm signal was sent into the void. We're at the place of tragedy, but it seems it is the best place to show how a fire alarm signal is transmitted in Ukraine. Imagine that this is the emergency service, and this is where the alarm sounded, and the signal must be transmitted from the fire to the service. But in Ukraine, there's a system in place where it goes through a private company. That means the signal travels from the fire to the private company first, and only then to the emergency service. In this case, there was no contract with the private company, and the signal wasn't transmitted anywhere when the fire happened. So when the camp went ablaze and the children were in danger, the firefighters were unaware about the tragedy and the fire emergency. All automatic fire alarms in Ukraine do not send the signal to the emergency service. It exclusively goes through a middleman. The camp didn't sign a contract with the middleman. No contract, no alarm signal. The firefighters don't like to talk about those companies on camera. It's easier to learn about them if you try to negotiate a direct transmission. We're going to meet the deputy head of emergency service of Odesa region. A month after the Odesa tragedy happened, we will try to connect the camp's alarm system directly to the service. And if I want the signal to go directly to SESU, we don't have the monitor and license. How do you get it from the middleman? They call us on the phone. They call 101. So the private company calls you later? Yes, and that's all. The fire alarm signal goes to the middleman who calls the firefighters. The middleman's monopoly was permitted by a 2-year-old order. The author of the order is the Interior Minister, Arsen Avakov. Why did the monitor companies usurp our right to receive the signal? Why do we have to have a monitor company involved if the object wants to pass the signal directly from the alarms to the main department? Why did they usurp this right? On what grounds?
Сигнал от пожарной автоматики непосредственно в Главное управление. Почему узурпировано это право? На каком основании?
This is a video from our 2016 investigation about the implementation of middleman monopoly. The video has the head of 112 State Service, the Ukrainian 911, asking the emergency service some uncomfortable questions. The 112 Center was created for the Euro 2012. It was envisioned as the monitor center for all alarm signals. A U.S. agency gave a $500,000 grant for its creation. They didn't get any answers. The head of 112 was fired a month after that. In 6 months, the 112 Center was shut down. A mention in a law is all that remains of it. The state cannot provide some functions. Which functions? Could you clarify, please? Functions on providing firefighting services. Head of Emergency Prevention Department of the SESU, Alexander Sherbashenko. Chief fire warden of the country at the time of that meeting. He says that receiving fire alarm signals isn't for firefighters. The firefighters disagree. So a commercial firm can do it, while you have restricted the state. Why do I not have this right? Because the chief fire warden's mansion has a white Range Rover in the backyard. On paper, it is owned by the founder of the Dozor Company Group, which is a fire alarm signal middleman. That man is a co-founder of several fire monitoring and signal transmitting companies, Dozor Service, Septic Ltd. Because Sherbochenko's wife is a Dozor employee, and that car gave Sherbochenko's daughter a ride to the university. Because all over the country, private companies that earn money by calling the firefighters are mostly owned by high-ranking firefighters. Poltava region. A fire monitoring company was co-founded by the head of regional fire department, Mykola Horbenko, his mother-in-law, and Katerina Oksan, sister of Grigori Reva, the head of Interior Ministry's fire department, and later the Minister of Emergency Situations. Mykola Horbenko's wife, who is also the mother of the deputy head of Poltava region SESU, was, until recently, a co-owner of 2 companies, the city of Dnipro Impulse Company. It's Grigori Reva's family again, he himself, his son Valery, and his sister Katerina Oksan. In Vinnytsia, Oleg Liskov, regional SESU official, has co-founded Pozhezhny Zahist. Companies belonging to Alexander Donsky's, head of the Regional Council Commission on Ecology and Emergencies, operate in Kharkiv, Kharkiv Spetspult, Kharkiv Spetsnakhlad, Kharkiv Spetsservice. Odesa region is not an exception. On the one hand, here they can and want to receive the signal directly. Deputy head of regional SESU department admits that. Our hands are tied. You should bring this up with the parliament. That's how it is. If we could have a monitor installed here and sign contracts with objects, then the money would go to the main department and we could buy uniforms, vehicles for that money.
Тогда фактически деньги шли на счет главного управления. Мы могли бы за эти деньги там форму покупать, машины.
The first deputy head is ready to receive signals directly, but that doesn't mean the head would agree. Head of Odesa SESU has personal interests in middlemen. So do many of his colleagues. Victor Fedorchak is a lifelong civil servant, head of Odesa region SESU since 2015. He was transferred to Odesa from Kirovograd region, where he was the head since 2007. During Fedorchak's leadership, a group of companies in Kirovograd region gained monopoly on fire signal transmission. We have monopolists on the market. Their founders are the emergency service ex-leadership, their subordinates, and also friends and family of its current leadership. Kirovograd company Pożeżny Techniczy Zachist, founded under Fedorchak's leadership. The owner is his sister, Alexandra Stasiuk. In 2016, the company was re-registered in other people's names after a scandal erupted. But the Kirovograd SESU didn't limit itself to a single company. The Pożtech Zachist office houses other local market leader, the APS company group. Where's the office of Pożeżny Techniczy Zachist? Listen, I can tell you about the APS Kirovograd, but they are on your floor. Let's go find them. You can look, but know that every room has our employees. All of them? APS Kirovograd, and those are our employees. And where's Pożtech Zach? I don't know. The owner of APS is not surprising. He is a relative of ex-head of Kirovograd SESU. You're looking for the head? Any question for the security? No. So what do you want? I'm looking for Pożtech Zachist. It's here. Where is it? Let's go. Let's go. Pożtech Zachist is in this office. I'm the head of this company. By chance, he is also the head of APS Security. While Fedorchak's sister isn't a co-owner anymore, she still passes the signal to the firefighters. What's her position now here? She was a co-founder. Is she an accountant now? She's an economical worker now. The business of transmitting the alarm signal is a pretty lucrative one. Odesa head firefighter drives a Toyota Land Cruiser, which costs at least $36,000. But the car is not registered in his name. The owner is Nadiya Burdiey. Well, where? Where will I get her? She's 86. She's at home. Or what? How? Please tell us where to go. I need her signature. You need her address? Yes. Her address is Podlesny Lane 6. Burdiey lives in Fedorchak's mansion. It is built among oaks and pines near a forest, clean air, a nearby river, and MPs as neighbors. A 2-story log house, a cozy yard, a neat lawn, and of course, a 3-meter-high fence. The du jour owner is not the firefighter, but a business partner of Fedorchak's sister. Is Mr. Ihor at home? No, he's at work. Mr. Ihor is the firefighter's son. Ihor Fedorchak, the 29-year-old deputy head of the National Police Investigation Department. The e-declaration of the young but already successful Fedorchak Jr. mentions neither the property nor this baby here. The young investigator's car is also a Land Cruiser, and it's also registered in Burdiey's name. We're by the department now. We can visit you. Thank you. Can you answer the question, please? A week has passed since our visit, and the Land Cruiser is now listed on Fedorchak Jr.'s declaration as a present from his granny Klavdia. Let's say that we made this present together. All these presents, mansions, expensive cars of emergency service leadership cost more than millions. Their real price, however, is in minutes. In the 5 to 10 minutes for which the firefighters stand idle, waiting to receive the alarm signal from a middleman, if they receive it at all. Otherwise, the price is in lives. Emergency service middlemen are a legalized corruption scheme on a national scale, as are the fire safety inspections, which find cash-rich culprits but don't care about gross violations if there's no money to be made, as are token signatures of non-existent responsibility. These are not exceptions but rules by which the Odesa fire was not a tragic accident, but part of a tragic pattern.
А на сьогодні все. Спілкуйтесь з нами у соцмережах.
That's all for today. Write us on social media, watch us on YouTube, email us if you have something interesting. See you on air in a week. Goodbye.
В телеефірі ми побачимось вже за тиждень. До зустрічі.